Hey, this is Kevin from Kevin's Barbecue Joints, and this one's awesome. It's always great to talk to Carey Bringle, and this one we're specifically talking about Bringles Smokin' Oasis, which opened in December, and it is a Texas-style barbecue spot in Nashville. It's about 12 to 15 minutes, he said, from Pegleg Pork, or the original location. So I just wanted to ask him all about that. We got into some other stuff, but I mainly want to know how it came about, all the details, all the food they're serving. The hours is Thursday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., and it's Sunday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The venue itself, and if you're listening to this on the podcast side, check it out on the YouTube side. I'll have photos of the exterior. It's a place that people can come and watch games. There's two huge jumbotrons. There's a big bar. So like Texas style barbecue, it does sell out, but their goal is to serve food throughout the day. And they're also, just now, they're starting to work on a snack bar, which will have smash burgers, wings, fries, chips, food for the kiddos if you're just going to get barbecue and they want other food, or if you want food for yourself while you're drinking and hanging out and watching games. So we talk all about that, and that's definitely going to be a place that you'll be interested in visiting when you do visit Nashville. You could actually visit both places in one day. But he also has a Concourse B in the Nashville airport, Pig Star. He talks about that, so that's something to look out for if you fly into Nashville. And he also goes into depth about the original Pegleg Pork, for anybody that hasn't seen the video, the interview that we did about 4 years ago. So he talks all about that and what really defines what he wants in that restaurant and all of his restaurants, and also his business philosophy. He goes into that in depth. Lastly, we do talk about his bourbon, and there's some up and coming things with that as well. A tasting room is around the corner, so there's a lot of interesting things, and he has a lot of things going on in his world. But talking to Carey is wonderful. You're gonna love it. I highly respect him. He's a straight shooter. Oh, I don't want to forget, he also came out with a book last year called Barbecue for Dummies, and I'll put a link to that below. It's with the Dummies people, and it's a no-nonsense how to barbecue book, and it's one of those books where you don't have to read it cover to cover. You can just jump to different parts of it. So I'll put a link to that below, and he talks a little bit at the end about that. But I can't thank Carey enough for taking the time. Definitely visit Bringles Smokin' Oasis when you're in Nashville. Of course, go to Pegleg Porker as well. So if you're enjoying these, please subscribe. That way you don't miss out. I do about 2 of these per week. I have a website at kevinsbbqjoints.com. But at the end, stay safe and visit your local barbecue joint. Good afternoon, Carey. It's good to see you.
Hey, Kevin, great to see you as well. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's been a little while, and I
It
think
has.
I want to even think almost 4 years ago or something like that, maybe.
Yeah, I've had a lot of stuff going on since then.
and that is why we're talking. Let's
Yeah.
jump into what's happened. How's your headspace right now?
I mean, it's good. We have in December we opened up Bringles Smokin' Oasis, our new restaurant, and then also Pig Star in the Nashville airport. And so we did 2 new restaurants in December, going from one to both of those.
Wow.
The Oasis is a Texas style barbecue place. We always said there was going to be one Pegleg Porker, and we meant it. And so that's why these are 3 totally different concepts. We've got the Smokin' Oasis, we've got Pig Star, and we've got our flagship Pegleg Porker.
How far away is Bringles Smokin' Oasis from the original location?
It's not that far. It's probably a 12 to 15-minute drive. It's over in a location called the Nations in Nashville, which is a new up-and-coming neighborhood that used to have a bunch of industrial that they're converting to some apartments and to some retail. And so it's really got a good mix of business and residential, which is nice.
Did you design it specifically because there's so much outdoor space, and did you design it specifically for that kind of walking crowd, possibly?
Yeah, I had a buddy of mine asked me to come look at the property. I said, look, I'm really not looking to open another restaurant. He said, no, you got to see this property. I think you want to be over here. And I went and I looked at it, and he said, we'll lease it to you for a good rate. And I said, look, I like to buy property. I don't like to lease. And so he said, well, we'll let you buy into it. And I said, okay, well, that'll get me at least to come and look at it. And then he came back and he said, we'll sell it to you. And so once they did that, I mean, I looked at it and looked at the parameters I had to work with. It's a triangular lot that used to be an old gas station.
Okay.
So it still had the center island with the big canopy and stuff. And it just was, to me, it reminded me of a big like Texas ice house.
Mm-hmm.
We could do the Texas style barbecue in there, and then also have the big yard with all the cold beers and a big bar out there. And that's what we've done. And then we added 2 big we added a bunch of TVs, but then 2 big jumbotron TVs. And so there's
awesome.
no better place to watch a game in Nashville than Bringles Smoking Oasis.
How
You can
cool.
get great food and watch great sporting events.
And did you add, because I saw something even today, did you add more seating area and like a little, not a gift shop, but like a different snack shop or something? Or
yeah, so we've got we've got the same amount of seating area. It's got a knee wall and then also a fence around it, so families like it, they can bring their kids and bring their dogs.
Oh, so it's nice.
Not all the kids don't always want to eat Texas style barbecue. So if the parents want to go through the line inside and then they hang out for a few hours, the kid wants to eat something, then we put this container in that we just dropped it today, as a matter of fact, and we still have to build out the rest of the interior, but it is it's going to have smash burgers and hot dogs and wings and then chips and fries. And so it'll have the stuff that we don't have in the restaurant. And it's again, a clear differentiator that they're sort of silos. You know, we do one thing inside the restaurant, we do another thing out at that snack bar.
That's smart. And it'll work out. It'll be interesting to see how the numbers play, to see how popular, because a lot of people will come probably just for a burger and some wings or
yeah, a lot of people come. That environment lends itself to coming and drinking and hanging out all day. So a lot of people will come and hang out all day, and then they say, "Well, I need something to eat. I want a snack," and they'll look at the line for the meat counter, and they'll be like, "I'm not going to go do that." And so now they're going to have an option to be able to go grab a quick snack and not wait in a big line.
So is it set up meat market style? Are you ordering that same way? Like, is there a cutter and stuff, or do you order?
Yeah. At the Smoking Oasis, you go through its cafeteria style line, and then there's a butcher block at the end, and everything is weighed by the pound. Every item on the menu is a la carte, and so you get what you want. You build your own platter, and we do brisket, we do a smoked pastrami, we do a salt and pepper pork rib. We'll do beef ribs every once, when we announce them, and then smoked turkey and some jalapeno cheddar sausage.
That's perfect. How was the response been, and when did it officially open?
It opened in December, I think on December 3rd. The response has been great. People love it, and the neighborhood likes it, and we love being in a neighborhood. We've been here in the Gulch where there's a lot of residential, but it's still downtown, and so being in a neighborhood is a whole different ball game, and we're enjoying it. And I think that the neighbors are really loving having a family friendly place they can go and hang out all day.
Yeah, it's beautiful. You guys really designed it really well. And then it's open because it's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right.
11 till what, like 2 days a week? It's open an hour.
11 till 10 or 11 till 8 on Sunday.
Okay. Oh, so that's perfect. So that's ideal. And has the response been pretty good for sports too? Does it get pretty crowded?
Yeah. When there's a sporting event, boy, I tell you, it gets crowded out there. People want someplace cool. That we got big enough jumbotrons that are bright enough that even in direct sunlight, you get a great picture on them.
How crazy!
And so it's nice for people to come out there and be able to sit anywhere in the yard and see a great picture on the screen.
In Tennessee, the sports is pretty important to a lot of people in Tennessee. So that's got to be so great. Now,
listen, when SEC football comes around, it's going to be insane.
Imagine that. I know that's going to be, and the weather will be so great. It's ideal. Is there covered seating too, or is it?
So there's some covered seating. There's about 45 seats inside, and then there's some seating outside at the bar is covered, but we just got a quote on putting up some shade sails so that we'll have
that seems
more,
like the popular thing to do these days.
So we'll have more cover out there in the yard and shade you from just some of that harshness of the sun.
Because it does get hot. It seems like it just gets every year hot.
It's only gonna get hotter down here in Tennessee. I can tell you that.
Are you cooking on offsets, or are you cooking? Do you have like a JNR?
We've got some old hickory pits that we're using. And they work for us. I've got a BMF 200 over there, which is one of my pits that's all wood and charcoal fired. And so we'll fire it up from time to time to do special stuff. It's really more of a whole hog cooker. But it also does a great job with brisket and with beef ribs. And then we've got a big asado grill out there where, like, we had Adrian Divala from down in Seguin, Texas, come in, and he did a pop up, and they did tacos on that asado grill, and so it was great. We'll do some char grilled oysters and stuff out there this summer on that asado. Just, whatever we feel like having a little fun and an exhibition.
Yeah.
I
thank you for pronouncing his name properly, because in my head I've been pronouncing his name Davala. I think
it's tough. It's a tough one to pronounce. I think I got it right.
I think you got it right. No, I think you did. What kind of wait times are you looking at right now? Are there pretty good lines?
It just all depends on the day, and it depends on the weather. Sometimes you're going to wait an hour, and sometimes, you can walk right in and get through the line. It depends on the time of day and the particular weekend.
Yeah.
And, people in Tennessee aren't used to that, and certainly not at Pegleg. I mean, at Pegleg, I think from the front door to the counter, it's about 30 minutes. So we move very quickly, and we're able to go very quickly. The thing about the Oasis is that scale holds us up, because the scale's connected to the register, and we're working on trying to speed that up a little bit. But we tell people, we're like, look, in Texas, they wait 3 hours for this.
Yeah.
Y'all ought to settle down. This ain't that bad.
You should have some pictures of like Snows and Goldies and different places. Yeah. And Franklin.
Exactly.
People waited for Franklin 7 hours, I think.
No, most of the people from Texas don't complain about it.
Yeah. But it's funny too. It is odd that every so often I talk to somebody from Texas that doesn't know about like the whole line thing or the craft style bar. It's an odd thing. Were you thinking of opening a restaurant ever before this, or did you ever want to do like a Texas style?
I kicked it around. One of my buddies, Shane Smith, I'll have to make him watch this so he'll know he got some credit. He kept telling me I need to do beef ribs, and he just harped on me. If you do beef ribs, everybody, and let me tell you, he's right. When we serve beef ribs, these people will cut you over one of those beef ribs. I mean, if you say we're doing the beef ribs and they're going to be ready at 2, if you release them before 2 and you happen to sell out by 2, these people come in and they will cuss you. I mean, they're like, you ruined my day. You really ruined my day. And I'm like, man, it's just a beef rib. And they're like, I can't get one anywhere else in town. And now you have completely ruined my entire day.
My heart was so set on it.
No, I really wanted that beef rib. I'm like, my bad. We'll stick to our times. And so now we know.
Yeah. So
we're like, I tell Dresh, who's on the pits, I'm like, look, if we say 2:00 on a beef rib, by God, we're holding them until 2.
But can't that person miss it because they're in line? Like that's not really that fair. But I guess it's just people are fanatical about stuff.
Oh, they get.
Well, and
bourbon and barbecue, man. We get the hottest head, enthusiast of anybody. They get
and heat
passionate about it.
Well, did you? So then this is a good segue then towards your bourbon. Are you serving your bourbon at the restaurant?
Oh yeah. We serve my bourbon at all the restaurants, and then we're distributed now in about 10 states and in the UK.
Good.
It's done well. We're in the process of building out a blending and bottling facility. A new plant, and so when that's done, we'll have a tasting room and bottle shop there
at the Oasis?
Physical location. No, it'll be its own standalone building.
Oh, so another place. Where you guys, will that be within town or some outside?
Yeah,
of
it's
town?
in Nashville.
Okay.
It's over in an area called Berry Hill.
Okay. How did you get started with that? I know you like bourbon, but how did that come about?
Yeah, I really like bourbon, and I got my friend Nick Lambert hooked me up with Jim Beam Black as a sponsor of my Memphis and May barbecue team. And they're still a sponsor. Even though I have my own bourbon company, Jim Beam Black still sponsors my barbecue team down in Memphis. I had a good relationship with folks in the bourbon industry, and Nick knew that I wanted to start my own brand. We thought that we might work something out with Beam it's at one point, but they're just too big. Trying to do something with a company like that is very difficult. And so I was able to purchase a batch of bourbon, and then I developed a process of finishing it that where we filter it through hickory charcoal after it's debarreled. And that gives it its signature flavor and taste. It's not smoked. and I didn't want it to be smoked because I've never had a smoked liquor that I thought was worth the shit. You know, they're
No, I agree. I
they're
was given a
bitter.
bottle.
Yeah, they're bitter and acrid because those are people that don't work with smoke every day. But if you work with smoke every day and you understand the subtleties of it, then you know that a little bit goes a long way.
I
And
agree.
so the way that we got a little bit of that flavor, but without the bitter acridness, is I burned down the coals and then filtered it through those coals after they were burned down and cooled off.
Wow. Do you have different?
Well, our stable is our staple is our white label, which is a 4 to 6 year old, and so that's the traditional Pegleg Pork daily drinker. We had an 8-year-old and a 12-year-old. We released a Pitmaster Reserve, which was a 15-year-old. We're going to be able to bottle the 8-year again. The 12-year we'll be able to bottle next year. I've got some rye coming. And then we'll have some rye with some different expressions, and we'll get into some when our new bottling line is up and running. We'll get into some different proofs and like a bottled in bond, and so we'll be able to offer some different expressions with the stock that we have right now.
That'll be a lot of fun too.
It'll be great. Well, right now we're just restricted by the bottler that we're using. They've got their own brands, and it's just we're at the mercy of their schedule.
Okay, so that does make sense. Can you buy a bottle at any of your locations?
No, we don't have a retail sales license for that.
Can you? So then how? Okay, but you can buy.
But we're in almost any liquor store in Tennessee.
Okay, gotcha,
we're prevalent throughout Tennessee, Georgia. We're in Kentucky. We're in North Carolina. We're in Louisiana. We're in Nebraska and Oklahoma. I forget.
Okay,
where New York. We're in New York as well.
Oh wow, okay.
About to be in Arkansas. So we're out there.
A possibility that California, or is California, do they have weird laws?
No, absolutely. California's on the list. We're limited by supply. And so I've always bought from brokers. And then a couple of years ago, we started laying down our own supply. So in 2024, our supply will exponentially increase. And so we'll be able to go to a lot more states.
That'll change everything.
And so, right now we're just trying to take care of the distributors that we already have on board and not short everybody, but rather give everybody what they need. And so if you only have so much supply, the more states you take on, the less everybody's going to get.
Did you ever think that you would have that type of business, that segment of business?
I always hoped, but
you always hoped,
it's a difficult business, and I don't have any partners or any backers. I'm an independent on all my restaurants and all of our companies. And, the bourbon business is very capital intensive. And, you get people that say, well, you just, slapped a label on it and called it your own. And it's, I say, hey, look, you think you could do it, go for it. It's not quite like that. And if you don't understand the intricacies of the business, if you don't understand how it works and how distributors work and all the complex laws, then you're going to have a hard time. I tell people, if you want to get into the bourbon business, you better have two things: deep pockets and big balls. And otherwise, otherwise you're going to blow a lot of money. And there's a lot of small, distilleries that are going out of business because they just don't understand the business. They think, well, me and my Uncle Joe were in our garage and we decided to make a moonshine and blah, 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 blah. And, then I'm like, hey, nobody cares.
Yeah.
You have to have a compelling, true story that's not made up. And a lot of people have tried to make up stories along the way, and then they really get caught up in a mess.
Yeah. And also too, it's just like with restaurants, or everyone has these grandiose ideas. And once you get in the thick of things and have to put the work in, and it becomes hard and difficult, that's when it kind of weeds out the people that,
Oh, big time. Big time. Yeah.
Because everyone's dream is of a bar or a restaurant or.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, they want it all. They're like, I've seen you on TV, man. I could do that. And I'm like, well, guess what?
Yeah.
I busted my ass for a lot of years to be even offered that opportunity. And, it's not that simple. And TV doesn't pay much. And so, if you got to make a living, if you want to be able to go have the luxury of going and doing some TV appearances,
No, definitely. And how is Pegleg Pork doing itself? And could you, for people that maybe haven't seen our first interview and might not know, they just know you as a person, Can you talk a little bit about the restaurant really quick so people?
Yeah, Pegleg Pork is our flagship. I literally am the Pegleg Porker. I've got one leg, and most you can go look up the story. I had bone cancer when I was 17, but the restaurant is you love what you grew up with, and what I grew up with was West Tennessee Memphis barbecue. My family was from Covington and from Memphis. I grew up in Nashville, but I traveled to Memphis all the time, and then lived in Memphis after school. And so we do a traditional West Tennessee dry rib. That's the most traditional sense you can do. There's not many people that do it like we do. The Rendezvous is the one that invented it, and they char grill theirs, and then they hit them with the dry seasoning before they hit your plate. Mm-hmm. Ours is exactly that. It's a dry seasoning. It's not a rub. And so it's not meant to be applied to that rib before I smoke it. And so we put nothing on them except for kosher salt, and then we hit them with that dry seasoning right before they hit your plate. And that's a true dry rib. And the difference between us and the Rendezvous is they char grill their ribs and we smoke ours. Yeah. And so there's that differentiation. But this was a sort of a tribute to those places, the Rendezvous, the Public Eye that I grew up going to in Memphis. And we serve pork and chicken, and we don't do any brisket or any beef or any of that at Pegleg. We're not trying to be everything to everybody. We're straight down the line, real Tennessee barbecue.
No, I love that. And I love that you haven't ever wavered, and that's who you are. And also too, we've talked about it before, and I've seen interviews with you talking about ownership and how important that is. Can you speak to that a little bit? And I'm trying to think of, during COVID, were you running for mayor, or you're talking to the mayor? Like, what was going on?
I cussed the mayor.
I cussed the mayor out. I
didn't cuss him. I wrote a very poignant letter to the mayor. We got our property taxes raised 34% in the middle of the pandemic. And so, and my property taxes in this building have gone up over 800% in 9 years.
Oh Lord, that's insane.
And yeah, it's insane. And so I wrote a letter about leadership and about the tax increase and about how I thought our city was lacking in some of those areas. And I had a lot of people ask me to run for mayor, and I said, thanks, but I really like my life. That's not what I want to do. That's a whole different thing. I can't sit in that many meetings.
No, and it just drive me crazy. God.
Yeah. And so, I'm an independent. I feel strongly about it. The lines get blurred a lot with the media and with restaurant folks, because some people consider themselves independent, but then have groups of investors or backers. And to be a true independent in the restaurant business, you're self-funded, or you've bought out your partners, or you've it's you and the bank, and that's it. And there are very few of us left. And so there's certainly a place in my heart for other independents like me, because the struggle is that you're dependent on nobody to have your back. Mm-hmm. It's you and your staff and your family, and you become closer because you've got everything riding on it. If something goes down, it's you, and it's out of your pocket, and you don't have anybody else to share the load with. And so, I try and we buy our properties. We don't lease. And I've been fortunate enough to do that. I had a partner when I started that helped out. I bought him out within 6 months, and then I bought him out of my building within 4 years. And then I've done everything else independent since.
How did that feel when the pandemic was hitting? Was that something, because it's all you? It's all you. It's like,
sucks.
that's like, it's not like you could say, hey, it's
no, that's exactly what I'm saying, because you don't have a group of investors to lean back on and go, we need more capital. It is, okay, well, maybe I need to take out a loan on my house, or maybe I need to sell an asset, or maybe I need to do something different. And to stand in front of your employees and have to furlough them like we did for 6 weeks in the middle of the pandemic was just heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
And my wife had an episode that day where she thought she was having something with her heart. So I thought she may be having to go into heart surgery, and I had to stand there and tell 50 employees that that we were going to have to furlough them.
What
And
a day.
it was
What a
a
day.
very tough day.
Oh, and
Yeah.
like those are the days that shape you, and those are the days that, that'll stay with you forever.
Well, it does, and you learn a lot from your
Yeah.
people. And we have a lot of families that work for us, and we like to treat them like they're our family. They're the lifeblood of this business. And, so we're family in every sense of the word. And it's, I think it makes us have a special environment when you come into Pegleg. It's you want great food, and and people expect that, but it's also about the feeling that you get when you come in. Every picture on the wall are family photographs. They're me and my kids, and they're me and my dad when I was growing up, and they're my granddad cooking whole hogs on the island of Luan in the Philippines in the middle of World War II.
Oh, wow.
And so,
Nice.
there's real history on the walls at Pegleg, and it's my history, and it's my family's history, and that's what we want to share with people when they walk in. That's what we're all about.
Wow. And are you hiring at both locations still?
Always hiring.
Always, right?
We can
Always.
always hiring. You
Gosh.
can't get people that want to work much anymore. It's tough, and they make good money too.
Because of NFTs and crypto and
they all want to be influencers or TikTokers,
because that'll last. That's a smart business to go.
Right. Mom and dad are paying the bills while they're trying to work on their influencing career.
Yeah. I'm sure you've had plenty of people say, so for a free meal, I will put you.
Listen. Yeah. I mean, well, you find that the good ones don't ask for anything free. They come in and do their thing. They pay for it. You might not even know they're there. But then you get a bunch that are like, oh man, I'll blow you up, and you look and they're like 3,000 followers. And you're like, oh, come on.
But even if they had like a million, it could be a million people that don't like even that are vegans.
Then they come in and want a free meal, act like a diva,
It's
well, we're supposed to, I talked to them and they said we were going, and I'm like, no.
We're living in a very weird world, but it's exciting. I guess people now have two options. They can hit both places in the same day. I was glad that they're close. So that,
yeah, they're not far. They're close. So you can hit both places in the same day, which is great. And then if you're flying out on the Beacon course in the airport, you can hit Pig Star, and it's a different menu as well. Pig Star? So Pig Star is our airport restaurant that we opened up in December as well.
Okay.
And it's a partnership with Delaware North. They're doing a great job. I curated the menu out there, and the whole and the architecture and atmosphere. We worked on it and designed it, and it's a great place. It's right across from the main Delta Gate, and you can
sit down or grab and go, or
sit down. They've got you can get it to go, but it's also you can sit down. We've got a big bar there.
Oh, nice.
It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and so you can kind of get it all there. And we had to make sure that we had a menu that was appropriate, that worked for out there.
What do you have for breakfast there?
Like we got a grit bowl. So you got cheese grits with some pulled pork and some eggs in there, which is nice. Great. And then we've got like a breakfast burrito, a pulled pork breakfast burrito. So we got biscuits and gravy, all the good stuff.
That's great. Do you have, you guys going to be doing, or do you do brunches at all at Bringles?
We hadn't started yet. We would love to. It's just a matter of staffing up and making sure we can prep enough and get out there and get it done. It's long days out there when it gets hot. And so we'd love to do more breakfast brunch type stuff, but we're still trying to get all of our footing. It's only been a few months.
Yeah, it's really, really new. If you come at like later in the day to watch a game, can you get most of the menu? Can you get brisket later in the day, or you guys selling?
Yeah, I mean, we've run out anywhere from 4:30 to 8. I mean, it depends. It depends on the day and on the crowd, but we cook fresh every day, and so we want to run out, but we don't want to run out too early.
Yeah. But if you
I don't like to run out at 2:00 in the afternoon. Let me tell you that. To me, that's 6 wasted hours of when I could be selling more food.
Yeah. You're I think, I don't know if you were the one who said that you pay for electricity like the whole time, or I talked to a number of old school people. They're like, well, I pay for electricity, I pay rent every day, so why am I?
Why do I want to run out at 2:00? You know, hey, you want to live with the classes, feed the masses, baby. That's you want to feed as many people as you can feed.
Excellent. This is really good. I'm happy for you. It looks look the location looks great. The food looks
Thank you.
great. I know that Blake, I think Blake Stoker stopped by twice, I think.
Yeah, Blake came in and spent a couple of weekends. We had a good time.
What a great
Is
guy.
Uncle Jamie. His Uncle Jamie, you watch
Oh.
out going out with that guy. Oh, let me tell you something.
I've been invited out, so I'm warned.
We had fun, and I can't wait to get up to Blake's new place at Southern Milling. It looks amazing. It looks like he's really got it together, and you know, he's been doing an amazing job up there for years.
Yeah.
And now he's actually got the place to really showcase it and show it off. And I couldn't be more happy for him. And you know, he's an independent too. And so, like I said, I keep in touch with a lot of the barbecue people in town here, but then also some of my friends over in West Tennessee, like Blake and Zach Parker and Ernie Meller over in Memphis, and Vernon over at the barbecue shop in Memphis, and the boys at Central and at Rendezvous. So it's all good. We've been busy. We also released a book last year.
Oh yeah.
And so Barbecue for Dummies. I did that with Wiley Brothers.
Yeah.
So if you like the For Dummies style of books, it's perfect. It's not my life story. It's not the Carey Bringle A to Z. It is a reference guide and manual to say, you know, here's if I'd have had that book when I started cooking barbecue, I could have probably shaved 10 years off my learning curve. And so it gives you all the time. I'd like to tell people, they say, well, how do you make barbecue really good? And I said, it's not rocket science. It's about time and temperature.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you'll follow the guidelines in Barbecue for Dummies, you'll be able to cook great barbecue for your family. And you can just pull it off and look up the specific chapter. You don't have to, you know, sit down and read the whole thing.
Yeah, those dummy books are great because you could jump around and skip around. Oh, that's so. I'll put a link below, and also in the montage, I'll put photos from it, and I'll have a companion blog with photos from it. So, but it's so good to see you, and thank you for sharing all about this. I'm so excited about your new venture, and I just wanted to get it into the back of people's mind that when they come to Nashville, there's another option, and it's an option if they haven't, because a lot of people don't get a chance even to have Texas style barbecue in their city. And so this is fun. This is nice for them. This is
sure. Well, we appreciate it, Kevin. Thanks a lot for all you do for the barbecue community. We appreciate you spreading the word, and always good to see you.
Always good to see you.
All right. Thanks. We'll see you.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye.